Hello. How are we today? Thank you for the follow. We are making pasta today. I already made the dough. I'm not. I'm not gonna go through that. It's already on my. I believe it's on my YouTube. We'll see. If it's not, I can put it up there. Uh, so we're gonna make raviolo, which yeah, it's a bunch of Italian stuff after that. That will include ricotta cheese and an egg yolk in a large ravioli, boiled and then served with a sage and brown butter sauce. I have here, I don't have any fresh and I couldn't find any, so I have ground and rubbed sage, salt and pepper, and 1 stick of unsalted sweet cream butter in there. And we're going to put that on a low heat to melt the butter. Get the butter melted, and then I'll bring it up, bring the temp up, so we can actually brown the butter. And while that goes, we're going to work on our pasta. I made this a little over an hour ago. It has rested. You can see that it is not completely incorporated, but you know, that's why we need it. So all we're going to do is work it down and around, and I guess I'm going to have to take it off the plastic wrap to do this, because you can see this is clumping, but it's not fully combined, which means that I didn't knead it enough when I made it. That's fine. And this is 2 eggs of pasta. I might have to get a little bit of water here. Thankfully, I do have some water here for the pasta to boil in. I'll just add a little bit of that. We're going to fold this the other way because we are getting sticky. I just have my board knife here to help scrape up all the bits and pieces. And we're just folding it and kneading it. Well, we're kneading it, which is fold halfway, press down and in with the palm of your hand. So we can get this all combined. Now this does have egg, flour, salt. I used a black truffle salt. That's what you see. If you can see the little specks in there, those little specks are bits of black truffle. I did soak the truffle salt before I mixed it in to soften the truffle and to dilute the salt before I combined it. Now we're starting to get there. Now we're not going to be working this right away. Yeah, well. So all the crumbly bits are gone. And I'm just going to work this into a sort of smooth ball. Not completely, because it ain't going to happen. As tight as the dough is right now from me working it. We're going to put it right back in our plastic wrap. Wrap it up nice and tight so air doesn't get to it, and set it over here. Scrape up our We're going to be making another mess here anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Now get rid of all this mess. That. I had quite a bit on my hands. So, wipe those off with one of these kitchen sanitary wipes. This a quick wipe down. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're just going to put pasta there again anyway. And we'll be using the pasta roller. A little clamp here to mount it down to the table. There we go. And then we're going to put this. It has a little notch on the clamp that we're going to use to line up where it goes, so the back side of the clamp actually sits right on the edge of the table. It just holds it a little bit firmer. And there we go. And we're going to take this out all the way. I said we're not starting this yet, but it's good to have it ready. And then a little bit of flour here. Make sure there's a good bit of flour all over the top of it, underneath it, so nothing sticks. Okay, and we're going to go over here to the cook cam real quick so you can see this. Okay, so we have our there we go. See, our butter is starting to bubble up a little bit. It's all melted. Like I said, this is on low because I didn't want anything to burn. This right here is our milk solids. This is what we're actually going to brown. We have water in there. That's what's actually bubbling right now. The water inside your butter. When you clarify butter, you take the water out, and then you take all these milk solids out. And that'll give you your clarified butter. So now what we're going to do is, I don't want to bubble it over, but we want to bring this up to a nice little simmer here. We don't want to overcook it. Well, we want to take it just to that edge where it starts to smell nutty. A nice little aromaticness to it without burning it. And this is where, if you got a plug nose, you ain't going to be able to do it because it's more of an auditory and smell-based project as it is more so than it is visual. Because, I mean, if you know what cooking butter smells like, okay, so we're starting to get there. Let's see what we got. Well, we got a lot of foam is what we have. We got to let it cool down for a minute. But you don't want to stop stirring it and moving it around so the milk solids on the bottom don't get burnt. Yeah, you probably avoid making the mess too, like I just did. Now, if you could smell this, it has a nice little aroma of, I mean, honestly, it's just nutty. It smells like you're roasting hazelnuts or walnuts in your kitchen, chestnuts, you know. And you can kind of see there how deep that color is. How it's turned like a golden caramel color almost. Yeah, we'll kill this heat because this is done. Now you can see you got that nice roasted nut color, caramel color, them little brown bits there. Some of that is sage, but some of that is the milk solids from the butter actually browning and toasting, frying in there and giving it that depth of flavor and color. You can kind of see here. The foam is just a byproduct of the bubbling. You see that nice color? Yeah. That's what you're looking for. This is sage brown butter. Now you can run this through a sieve, through some cheesecloth, and clean that right up. It'll get rid of all the little bits, and you'll just have that pure butter. No foam, anything like that. Or you can just let it sit for a little while, and it'll separate itself, and you can just skim it all off, which is what I'm going to do. If I even skim it, because I don't really care. Doesn't bother me any. It's just me. And then we have our pot. Oh, I should probably wipe up that bit of butter so we're not cooking that on the convection here. They don't want to fry directly on top of the convection. Alright. And we'll put this big old pot here. Move that back some. And we're going to bring that up to a boil. And that's just about a third of the way full with hot water. And we're going to go back to the prep side so we can start messing with the pasta and all that good stuff. Alright. Pasta roller, our pasta. Now, I know that wasn't a very long rest, but it was a significant rest when it comes to the gluten. And we're going to do part of this. I'm not using this whole dough ball today. So, probably going to use half of this. So, we're going to take 1/4 of it. Wrap the rest of it back up. You don't want to leave it sit out in the air. Leave it sit there and marinate amongst itself. And take a little bit of flour. And we just kind of want to make an oval-esque shape out of this. And we're going to start running it through the pasta maker. Here, we're going to adjust this a little bit so you can see more of the pasta maker. And all we're doing is just flatten it out some. It's going to look like crap. I mean, this just, yeah, you're not going to do anything with that. This is just pressing everything down, getting a nice silken dough. As we push it more through, creating the layers, we'll end up with a nice workable dough. last time, and then we can start stretching this out. Yeah. And there we go. See, now it's got a nice little suppleness to the dough now. It's kind of smooth to the touch. Then what we're going to do is start cranking the dial down. Start stretching this out. And I am going to run it through twice on each setting, just because I want to work out all the kinks and crinks and ripples in the dough. Now we're going to switch sides here. Really? It just does not want to. Here we go. We'll just do it this way real quick. Sometimes they're finicky and don't want to agree with you. And you just have to persuade them to see things your way. Now, if you've got a power roller, you know, good on you. I don't have the money for that kind of stuff. And I think there's just something about cranking it out by hand. It also reminds me that, you know, I don't want to do it that often. There we go. Oh, and we're getting crinkled back up over here again. Okay. And we need one more. Well, that's all we got is one more, so, I mean. Number one is the last one. All right. And then we have this beautiful dough that you can see my hand through thanks to the light. It's still thick, but it's supple enough that you can see my hand right through it. Now this is a little bit thinner than narrower than I thought it was going to be, but for what I'm using to cut out my rounds, it'll actually work just right. I will be making more of these. I'm just making the one on camera because, well, you know what? I said I'd go live tonight. And these don't hold, so if you don't eat them, you cook them, that's it. You have to eat them. You can par them and put them in the freezer, but because they have an egg yolk in them, they are going to end up not looking like they should. This is kind of one of those eat it now or forever lose it kind of deals. So it's a kind of cook to order. So I'm going to set this down here. I said this is what I'm using to cut them out as my blender lid, which just happened to be the perfect size. And we're just going to push, give a little twist, and then we have our beautiful rounds. This pasta dough is not bad by any means. You could re-roll it. It will be a little bit tougher. You could coat it with flour and trim it up. There's lots of things you could do with that particular flour, or that dough, which I will do, just not here. Maybe I'll put that on TikTok and Clapper for everyone. So, crank up the heat on our water so we can get a nice rolling boil. I have my ricotta. This is low fat, and it says Italian style. Now, I'll tell you right now, this is not Italian style. If you're buying it from the box store, it's definitely American ricotta. Unless it says right on it, a product of Italy, which you're not going to really get that around here. It's going to be an American low-fat ricotta or a skim-fat. It's crap. It'll do the job. It has a lot more moisture in it than a classic ricotta. I mean, look at this right here. That's what I get when I dig into it. That's the moisture in the ricotta cheese. Yeah, that's not Italian-style ricotta. But it'll do the job of what I need it to do. I do need one egg here for to seal these with. One beaten egg. You could do an egg wash if you wanted. I'm just going to do a beaten egg. I don't care. Our water has a nice rolling boil. Egg number 2, I only need the yolk. So when I get the ricotta laid down, I will take the egg and I'll separate the yolk. And then we're going to put our ricotta down. You don't want too much. So you see there, I got about a tablespoon and a half. It's a very delicate ravioli. If you put too much filling in, you're going to end up blowing it up. Too little filling, and you'll end up cooking your egg yolk all the way. And then you won't have that wonderful experience that this ravioli is supposed to offer. So, keep ourselves a nice 1/2 to 3/4 inch away from the edge. Spread this out as thin and even as you can. You want maybe an 1/8 inch layer. And then we're going to take and make a divot right in the center. And we're going to build our ricotta up around that divot, working it out around there in the center. Give our egg yolk a place to lay and build up a nice little edge, so when we lay our other piece of pasta on top, it's not pressing right down on our ravioli. Okay, put that back in here, give you a kind of an idea of what we're working with. You can kind of see that divot in there, the layer that we have. I have to adjust the balance on these cameras apparently again. I think they reset when I updated my computer. Alright, so we have our egg. Now there's plenty of ways that you can take the yolk out. Work your way around the egg. Crack the shell in half. And you do is put the yolk on one side and then work it between the two egg yolks, or egg shells. Work the yolk between the two egg shells, and you'll slowly work the white off as you work it around. That is the yeah, that's this way. My way, right through the hand. Slowly work your fingers back and forth. The white will fall right off. And then we'll slowly drop this egg yolk right. Don't throw those whites away. That could be an omelet tomorrow. So we have our yolk right in here. We're going to take our egg that we beat, and we're going to do a nice little layer. And I'm going to push the egg into the ricotta, which will help firm up the edge of the ricotta as well. So when it hits the water, not only will you have the seal, but the ricotta will actually help form an edge so water can't get in. Wipe my hands off here real quick. We'll take our other pasta. We're going to lay it very gently over here. And we're going to work our way around this pasta. You don't want to just press down. You want to bring the bottom one up into the top. And we're just going to kind of crimp them together with our fingers. And slowly move it around, crimping it, giving us a nice firm seal right until we get to about the end. And we're going to make sure we get all that air out. And we'll seal this up. And then we'll work our way right back around, pushing even harder to make sure that we have every bit of this sealed. If water gets in here, your raviolo is done. You have no more raviolo. You have egg yolk and pasta in ricotta water. So here we go. Nice crimping, nice sealing all the way around. If you want, you can take a fork and press this down to make sure you get a nice seal. A pasta crimper would work well as also, but you want to make sure that it's clean. It looks nice. There's no jagged edges. The whole point of this particular dish is the elegance of the dish. Let me grab a plate, a serving. I'm going to grab a bowl is what I'm going to grab because, yeah. There we go. A beautiful little square bowl here. And we take this, you can see the yolk right in there. And we're going to set this, don't drop it. We're going to set it into our water. We go over here to the cook cam. Alright, so we're going to set this right in our water, nice and gently. Right? I guess I have to, there we go. Stuck on the ribs a little bit. And we want it to float here. It cooks. So the trick here is that it needs to cook the pasta without cooking the egg yolk. You want it just warm through. It's hard to describe, I think. You'll see here in a few moments if I do it right what we end up with. Want to make sure the top gets cooked all the way as well. I know that seems counterintuitive of putting water on it with a slotted spoon, but it's just enough water to set the pasta. I said I gotta adjust the camera again color-wise so you can see the color difference here. But it takes about 3 minutes to cook the dough, or cook the pasta. Yeah, dough. It's dough, but it's pasta. To cook the pasta dough, I did not get all the air out. That's what this little bubble right here is. That's air. But I don't see any ricotta coming out. I hope that's just flour floating around. Alright, so we're good here. We're going to lay it over and drain. Want to get all the water out of there. Switch back over to this cam. Okay. All that water drained out. Pasta here. Just let it. Let me grab a knife and a fork, because those are things that we need. Don't mind my butter knife here. It was just right on top. And like I said, I'm just going to use this right here. And we just top this with some of our sage brown butter. If you wanted, you could take a piece of fried sage. Don't use raw, it is an edible. Use a little bit of fried sage right on top of that. Okay, so this is the important part. When I cut through here, the yolk should be just set on the edges, but still completely runny, like a sunny side up egg. And, oh, that there is water. I had a leak in my ravioli. So my raviolo was a failure. That liquid you see here is water. The egg is cooked perfect though. You see here you just got that little film of the yolk had set. That's what you want. But aside from that, I mean the cook was fine. I just didn't get it closed all the way. So we have watered down ricotta. Check the flavor minus the water. Use just a touch of salt. The butter's nice. Nice sage flavor. Got that nuttiness from it. I'm about to make another one. You got to do it right. I eat this one first, though. Let's not kid, okay? I put all that effort into this. I'm gonna eat it. Whether it's got a little water in it or not. Yep. Very good. You can see the yolk, but you can also see all that water floating right on top of it. That's not what we want. it'll wash out. And this is all too thin, too narrow. Not too thin. I think it's all too narrow to be doing this. I think. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. I might be able to get one right here, but it's right on the edges, which is going to be kind of mangled. We don't want to do that. This back down here. Because I dropped here and we're going to smooth this out a little bit on the board. Nice oval-esque disc. Okay. And like I said, the first couple run-throughs, it's not going to be pretty. This is just getting the dough supple. Soft, silken. There's plenty of words to describe what you're going for here. And I did the first one nice and slow for you. We're going to do this one at my pace, because I got to make another one, so we're going to do it a little bit quicker. Just as I did last time, we're running it through twice on every single number. We want to make sure that we get all those little nooks and crannies all nice and smoothed out, you know, and avoid doing what I just did there of rolling it in on itself. And I don't know if you can tell, I am not grabbing it. When I do this, my hand is just kind of there. If you grab it, you're going to pinch it, you're going to crink it, you could put a hole in it. All I'm doing is cradling it. Just to keep it there where it needs to be. This needs to go away. And we just lay this out. I'm sliding it around in the fresh flour so we get a nice little layer on the bottom so it doesn't stick to the cutting board. Ow. I just dropped my clamp on my foot. It doesn't feel good. Okay. On to Raviolo number 2 real quick. Same thing, push your cutter down, give it a little spin, make sure you got enough edge and enough room. Down, a little kink, there we go. This, now this one I can definitely cut another one out of without any problem, but it's going to end up right here. With this, we're just going to kind of roll everything up into itself, these up. Okay, our ricotta. That out of the way so you can see. Once again, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch ring all the way around the pasta. Once we get our perimeter set of where we're going, spread it out even as we can get it here, and then create your well, working the ricotta out away from the well center so that you still have that layer of ricotta on your ravioli that's somewhat even. Alright, there's that. Wipe my finger off. And we're going to do an egg again. I'm just doing this one straight up my way. Right through the hand. Work your fingers a little. And we have no more egg white. Egg yolk right in the middle. I guess we're going to make sure we get egg all the way around this. We don't want another mishap like we had the first time around of getting water in our raviola. Wipe my hands off so I can handle this pasta. Alright. Second piece right on top. I say we're gonna work our edges around, slowly crimping them. Well, patting them together to be crimped. Now I am going to grab a fork this time and set these edges so I know that they're actually sealed this time, because I don't want to make a third one right now. And you're just going to push down, pull out, and work your way around. A little flour here because they're sticking. I know you can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'll show it to you when I get done, which I almost am. Okay, get this up and over. So I did is just went around with the edges with my fork and make sure it was sealed, but in the process, you can see I broke the egg yolk. So there's that. But we are going to cook it right into our water. Same thing as last time. This technically is a failure because the yolk broke. I was being too rough because I was in too much of a hurry. You've got to be gentle the whole damn time. But we'll see if it breaks. Because that's the important question. Did I seal my pasta? If I sealed my pasta, I'll accept the broken egg yolk with grace. If not, then I'll just have to make more off camera, record it, and go from there. I don't see any bubbles forming in this one. So, I mean, we might be in a good place here. Oh, I forgot to switch the camera back over. Sorry. Just draining it now. Alright. Set this here. In our sage butter. I said I didn't see any bubbles this time around. But let's see what we got. Obviously, like I said, you can see here how this whole section is dark. The egg yolk broke. So it was technically a failure. But did I seal my pasta? Is it water free? And it is. Which is the important part. The yolk still cooked correctly, but it did break. So, but aside from that, that is what you were supposed to end up with. You don't see any water floating around in our butter. Our little bits from our sage in there. And because there is no water in it this time, the flavor will be much more intense. The yolk, you can see, actually sticks to the pasta. And without the water, it doesn't need salt. Because the flavor hasn't been diluted. You see all that creamy egg yolk. Mm-hmm. You can see all that beautifulness. It's dripping. Like I said, with the exception of the broken egg yolk, that is what your raviolos should look like. It is a very delicate process, but when you do it correctly, the reward is definitely worth it, especially if you like sunny side up eggs and creamy ricotta. Now you eat one or two of these and you'll be done. Alright, I'm full. I'm going to finish these last 2 bites, but I am full. Alright. That was fantastic. Huh. I cannot see my YouTube stream. So, sorry folks, I didn't bring my phone in here because I thought the problem was fixed. Let me grab my phone real quick and see what people on YouTube are saying. Why does it say pork chops? I don't know. Alright, well. I guess we're done. Alright, folks, well, as I say, smoke meat, not meth. Have a great fucking night. I hope your work week goes well, especially with that extra day off. There's a sale going on Teespring. That's onlypans.com with a 0 instead of an O. 10% off everything on Teespring with the code SUNSET. That ends September 7th at 11:59 p.m. All right, have a great day, people.